last corner here, and I can take just a second of a breath here, and then come up this tailwind sprint, and hadn't still enough left in the tank to come around for the win.
On the left a little bit by Owen, and I just have to scrub a little bit of speed, probably thinking about the crash that happened the week before this, and now I'm just scrambling to catch back up, and look at just Owen just take off. I mean, classy sprint. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Watsonville Criterium P12 field. This is the third time I have posted the Watsonville Crit on the channel. So if you haven't checked out the other two, I suggest you go do that now. Boom, boom, right there. That's the main feature of this course. Those like drainage canals that cross the road on a couple of pretty key corners, and it makes it kind of tricky to navigate for a lot of people. There's also a hill on the course, a little bit of wind. It's a short course, so there's kind of a lot of stuff going on out here, and that lends itself to breakaway riding. So we're going to get into that in a minute. First, let's also talk about the teams on course. There's Mike's Bikes, that's us. There's three of us, Max, Chris, and myself. You have Tayroon Elite, my former team. I think they had 4 or 5 riders. They're in this bright pink jersey. And then you had the Ride Bikes Bros. I think they also had 5 or 6 riders, and they are also in the pink jersey. Looks a little bit different. So that's the setup. I'm attacking right now, and we're picking up action in kind of the first third of the race. The first 15 minutes were so much fun in this race. The field is just torn to shreds. I think we started with kind of between 25 and 30, I want to say. But it is much less now, and I'm doing a hard effort here on front. And that's because on this course, you're rewarded for being on or near the front. You can take these really good lines through these corners, preserve a lot of your speed. And we'll get to that in a minute. I wanted to kind of break this down into there are 3 distinct chapters in this race. So we're approaching the end of chapter 1, which is before things have kind of settled down. And what I mean by settled down is in a race, you got to think of people's motivations, right? There's sprinters who want things to stay together for a field sprint, and there's breakaway riders who don't. And as long as people aren't really happy with their position, breakaway riders are going to continue doing their thing and trying to escape. So at this moment in the race, things haven't quite settled down. Matt and I are both the respective sprinters for our teams, yet we're off the front, which is kind of interesting. We're both riding right here because we are just trying to apply pressure on the teams, namely Ride Bikes Bros, who have missed it. And also, like I said earlier, you're rewarded for being on or near the front on a course like this. You have to think about the course that you're riding. If it were, a standard 4-corner non-technical criterium, as the team sprinter, I would not be finding myself in this position. But up here, trading pulls with Matt, even though I'm not in the shelter of a draft, it can be much more efficient than, taking bad lines back in the field. But I'm sure that Matt wants more team support from his teammates, and I'd like more team support from my teammates. So neither of us fully commit to it, and we're eventually brought back with an immediate and predictable counterattack by my teammate Chris Reichert. And this is that first chapter in the race that I was talking about, where things are volatile, and there's just counterattack after counterattack until people are tired to the point where things settle down for a little bit. And this is such an important part of the race, because this is where things can be won or lost. You got to make sure you're putting yourself or your team in a race-winning position at all times. So like right here, we are stacking this group off the front, isolating Matt, who is the Tayroon Elite sprinter. And you'll notice that Ride Bikes Bros missed it. So they are forced behind to chase this back. And if you're a solo rider, you have to be acutely aware of what's going on and riders' motivations around you. So for example, if a team, like a bigger team like Ride Bikes Bro has missed a breakaway, then maybe don't hit the panic button so hard, because you'll be thinking to yourself, well, they're gonna have to chase it back so I can go with the next one. And right as soon as they make contact, I just have to go again. I mean, I don't have to, but I want to keep the pressure on. As a representative of Team Mike's Bikes, now Chris, who just attacked, gets to sit in while Ride Bikes Bro chases some more, because here we go again. Tayroon made this split, and Ride Bikes Bro has missed it yet again, so they're continuing to chase. And this can be a very difficult situation, because if you chase, and then the counterattack goes, you're not really in a position, you're not really prepared to go with that next counterattack because you're tired from chasing. So you have to chase some more. And it's just this cycle. And then here goes Chris again. So you're seeing this kind of come to a head right now. And again, Ride Bikes Bro has missed it. So they are forced to chase some more. But we're reaching a breaking point because those guys are getting tired. And there's going to be a point at which they give up the chase and one of these counterattacks is going to go. And by my estimation, that's going to happen at any moment now. So I want to be on the winning end of that. But at the same time, I'm not going to chase my teammate, right? So I'm able to sit in the draft here, save some energy, be prepared for the next one that goes in the event that Ride Bikes Bros chases this back. But this is the dynamic that you want. You always want somebody on your team in a race-winning position. Or if you're riding solo, you want to be aware of your surroundings and make sure that you are putting yourself in a position where you are not missing out on a potential race-winning move. So be aware of which teams are represented in the race, which ones are up the road in a breakaway, et cetera, et cetera. So I get the elbow flick right here, and that ain't going to happen, bro. Sorry. I'm going to sit back here, and this is the breaking point I was talking about. This is all she wrote. We have one more desperate attempt by Ride Bikes Bros right here. Doesn't make it. So now we are entering kind of phase 2, or chapter 2 of this race, which is the next 20 minutes. So the first 20 minutes are down. The next 20 minutes, things kind of settle in here. Ride Bikes Bros they have officially missed the breakaway, so it's going to be up to them to control the speed of this group. But now look at the field, right? I mean, I told you guys we started with like 25 or 28, and now we are down to, 2 off the front, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders, 7 riders, something like that. And this is what happens on a technical course with 20 minutes of hyper-aggressive racing. So things look like this for about the next 20 minutes. Let's fast forward a little bit and see how it shakes out at the end of the race. Okay, so 5 kilometers to go. That breakaway with Chris and Matt has officially been brought back. They've been playing cat and mouse up the road, and now there's the predictable counter. And check it out. Here comes Max, my teammate, in the purple Mike's Bikes kit on the left, coming to the rescue. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You always have to have either yourself or a teammate in a race-winning position, because you just can't risk it, especially with less than 5 kilometers to go. You just can't let a group go up the road. Otherwise, you're going to be forced chasing. And we hit this little climb into the start-finish, and there goes Max again. Teammate Max again.
That's the winner right there.
I'm saying that's the winner right there. And the timing of it's just so good. And it seems like everyone's just kind of running out of gas.
That's the winner, boys.
And I'm just running my mouth a little bit. So I'm going to sit back because now I have a teammate in a race-winning position. The bad news for us is so does Tayroon. Tayroon was just on top of it today. So they sent Yuri up the road with Max. So now it is, again, this is a theme of this race you guys are probably noticing. Tayroon and Mike's Bikes up the road in a group. Again, Ride Bikes Bros has missed it, and they are forced yet again to the front to do some chasing. And with 4 kilometers to go, this is like the bottom of the ninth, you guys. You know, you can't let groups like this get away without team representation, especially when you have 3 riders in a breakaway group of 8 or 9. All right, so coming through 2 laps to go, we have just over 2 kilometers to go. And here's the situation on the road. We have a group of 2 still off the front. That's Max from Team Mike's Bikes and Yuri from Tayroon Elite. Now, Yuri has a much better snap than Max does. So Max is sitting on, knowing that he's got me and Chris behind for Team Mike's Bikes. And props to Yuri. He's able to hold off the chase effort by Ride Bikes Bro, who are unable to chase this one back. They have just spent way too much energy chasing for most of this race. So you're going to see the hand signal there from Chris, signaling me to come up. So I'm going to come up to Chris here. But, you know, it's a weird situation because Max is just sitting on Yuri's wheel. He's not going to drop back to the field. That's never a good idea. Chris and I aren't going to chase a teammate. That's never a good idea. So now we just have to be prepared just in case Ride Bikes Bros are able to pull something out of the hat and chase that back here in the 11th hour. But it seems really unlikely at this point because every corner we come through, I get a glimpse of the break of 2 that's still up the road. I can see their gap still isn't really coming down. And I can see that Max is remaining in the draft of Yuri, forcing Yuri to do all the work that's required to make that breakaway successful. So now I'm just going to sit in Chris's draft. This is Chris right in front of me. We're going to stay organized, and we are prepared in case somebody wants to try to jump across or do something goofy here as we approach 1 lap to go. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was really hoping that Ride Bikes Bro in this situation was going to be able to organize themselves at the front and chase this back on the last lap because I was just having one of those special days where my legs were just feeling really good. Instead, here goes Christopher, my former teammate from Tayroon Elite, attacking. I'm not exactly sure what the point of this is. I mean, at this point, it just seems so unlikely that group of 2 is coming back. Maybe Christopher, this was his effort to try to get that last podium spot, 3rd. So I'm not really sure why he attacked here, but Chris and I are more than happy to follow this one. And Chris Doesn't spike it up to 1300 watts, even though he's capable of that sort of power. He's checking back at me, making sure I'm still on. And this is a bro move. This is a great lead out, right? It's nice and smooth. We're not doing an enormous effort here. We know that this gap, that's only 2 or 3 bike lengths up to Christopher, is very manageable. That's going to come back before the end of the race. He's not spiking up. It's a very smooth effort. This is the way that lead outs are supposed to look. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just organizing to try to secure that 3rd spot on the podium because, let's face it, that group of 2 is out of sight. They're gone. They're probably getting close to crossing the finish line already. But with 350 meters to go now, it's time to start thinking about how we're going to approach this final corner. And Chris and I had talked about this before the race, how we want this to go. But you know how plans go. Out the window when my former teammate, Matt, decides to launch one early. And this is his move. So he takes this first corner in position 1, which looks really good. I have to take the inside here, which is fine because I still have a lot of energy in reserves. With some good teamwork, I was able to save energy throughout this race, catch Matt on the hill, secure that 3rd overall position. And congrats to Yuri. Huge congrats to Yuri and Tehrun Elite in general for racing a hell of a race. Yuri both brought that group to the line and still had the energy and the snap to come around Max for the win. So huge effort by them. And what they did is they just always put themselves in a race-winning position. I know I said that like probably 5 times this race, guys, but it's that important. So anyway, thanks for hanging in there, guys, and I will catch you at the next one.
Yuri, who won? You got it? Good job. Couldn't drop the Yuri. He's fast.
Sorry.
No worries. No worries. I mean, you sat on like you should have, and it is what it is.
I even took the front, tried to slow that shit down.
Yeah, like we weren't going to chase you back. It's just